Hi, Danielle here. Welcome to Danielle's Corner. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all the story of my divorce. Yeah, just the divorce. I don't want to go into the relationship part. That doesn't really matter anymore. That would have been a fun story before, but yeah, so I'm just going to be sharing my divorce story. It's not something that I would have chosen to do on my end, but it is where we're at. It is what it is. So I had been married, no, I can't even remember. So 2005 to 2019. So 14 years, almost 15. Is that the right math? Yes. 13 years, almost 14. So 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So yes, 13 years, just like a month away from being married for 14 years. But we were not together at that time, so it was 13 years, okay? So on October 4th, 2019, and in that time, I had already had Barbara previously, but we got together when she was like 10-ish, and then we were married. She was in 7th grade when we got married, so somewhere in there. And so he helped me raise her through her teenage years, through the fun part, and then we had Cheyenne together. And so we have one daughter together, and I have 2 daughters. So anyway, that's that. So anyway, on October 4th, 2019, my mom and I, on Fridays, this was a Friday, we would always go do our errands, our grocery shopping and that kind of stuff. So we had gone to Sam's, gotten all our bulk items there, and then we went to my house to take my stuff. And Steve, he was supposed to be working, and I had texted him. So I think he's supposed to be working in Santa Fe, doing a job, and he was supposed to be working with with a coworker. And so I know that morning before I left for work myself, I work at my parents' house. They have the office for our business that my brother and I now run together. Anyway, so I would go to my parents' house, take Cheyenne to school, do all that kind of stuff. So when I was leaving that morning, he was still in bed. He was supposed to be going to go work in Santa Fe, but he told me, he's all, well, his coworker had called in and wasn't going to be working. So I think he was going to go to Santa Fe by himself, if I remember correctly. Getting a little fuzzy there now. So okay, I left, me and Cheyenne left. Barbara was not there. She probably had stayed someplace else, but either way, she wasn't there. And so Cheyenne and I left, took Cheyenne to school, went to my mom's, did what I had to do. Then we went ahead and went into Sam's to get some shopping done, and we're taking my stuff to my house, and Steve wasn't there. And I had texted him. I remember texting him. I said, "Where are you?" This was before, because I just wanted to see if he had made it safe, or because Santa Fe is only an hour away from us, but I just wanted to make sure he was okay. It's what you do, So I had said, "Where are you?" And he hadn't responded, but I figured he's working, he's busy, maybe he was driving. I didn't really think much about not getting a response. It was not a big deal to me. So anyway, then we get to the house, and I'm taking stuff in, and I go and I look, and there's this typed out, 2 lines of a note, just like a piece of paper on the table, and I kind of glanced at it, but I didn't really think. And then there was a couple credit cards, I think, and I was like, what is this? And so I pick up, my mom was bringing stuff in. I'm looking at this note, and it says, gosh, I don't even remember. I know I have it somewhere. It said that he'd been thinking, he said, I've thought about turning my lights out, but this is better. So to me, that sounds kind of like maybe like a note of suicide or something. I thought about turning my lights off, but this is better. So in my head, I was like, what the heck? Like, you know, I didn't know. I'm like, is he leaving me? Is he going to harm himself? I don't know. So I'm standing there. So like my first thought is like, has he done something to harm himself? Is he in the other room? So I like said it. My mom's still in Letty. I go to what was our bedroom and go and look. I looked in the closet. I even went and like looked in Barbara's room and Cheyenne's room just to see, like, no, he wasn't anywhere there. And then I look at the other, there was another paper that I saw later that was after I went and looked. I'm like, okay, well, he's not like done anything to himself here or anything. So I'm like concerned, but at the same, I'm just like weird, you know, I didn't know what to think. So then I go back and I look at the note again, and he's left like a couple of credit cards, and then there was another paper under it, and it was like his resignation to our business. So it was, my dad started this business with myself and my brother. Then when Steve and I got married, he had lost his other job, so my dad hired him on with us. So then after my dad retired, Steve became part owner. So it was me, my brother, and Steve as owners. So then he leaves this note with him resigning from our business. You know, I'm just like, you know, I just told my mom, and I said, I guess he's leaving me? I'm like, I don't know. So she's reading and she's like, what the heck? So we finish unloading, putting everything away because we have like groceries. I had like things that needed to be put in the refrigerator, and all this time I'm just like, what is happening, you know? So then went to my mom's, took her groceries out, and just to still like tell my dad what happened. I call Barbara. Yeah, that's right. She was at her boyfriend's house. I remember that because, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so she was over there, and so I call Barbara and tell her, and she's like, what the heck? And she's like, well, do you want me to go over? I'm like, no, like, what are you going to do? She's like, well, just be there for support. And I'm like, no, that's okay. You probably have things to do. And she's like, no, I'm going over. I'm like, okay. So she's getting ready to head over. So then I call my brother because obviously, like, what the heck? Call him, and he's the same thing. He's like, what? Like, what is happening? You know, like, I'm like, I don't know. So we're just like, I don't know. So then I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, what do I do? So I thought, well, maybe I should call his sister, his one sister that he talked to the most often, that I felt like he was the closest with. So I call her. She hadn't heard anything from him. Okay. And she's like, you know, worried, obviously. And as we all are, it's like I was worried, but at the same time, in the back of my head, I was like, he's left. Like, I don't think he's, it was so weird because it was like, he's left me, but is he going to hurt himself? But then it's like, no, I think he's just left. But then it's like, who does that? Maybe he's having like a mental breakdown. And then Barbara, for sure, she was like, no, he is having a mental breakdown. Something's wrong. Like, we need to call the police. We need to do something. So then I have Cheyenne at school. And I'm like, well, what do we do about Cheyenne? Like, you know, and she was so bad with school. She would, at that time, this was a couple years ago now, she would text. Mondays she was okay, and Tuesdays she was okay. But come Wednesday, Thursday, and especially Fridays, she'd be texting me, you should get me out of school early. You should get me out of school early. So she had already been asking. And so then, you know, I'm like, well, do I get her out early and tell her? Do I just wait until after school and tell her? Like, what do I do? And Barbara's like, no, we need to go get her now. Okay, so, you know, I've got her too. That's like my main priorities. I'm concerned about him, but at the same time, I'm like, what do I tell my kids? I already told Barbara. She's older though, you know. Cheyenne's in middle school. She's still young, you know. Either way, it's still a slap in the face, no matter what your age is. I'm a grown-ass woman, and it was a slap in my face, you know. Of course, that's not my father, but still. So anyway, we get her out early, and then my heart just broke because here she is walking out, and she's like happy, excited, thinking, oh, there's my mom and my sister. We're going to have fun now, you know? She's thinking we got her out of school. Wow, shocking. They're getting me out early, and my sister's here too. What are we going to do? And she's like, I'm shook, and I'm so excited. And I'm just like, ugh. Now I got to tell you this horrible news. So we get into the car. I mean, what I said to her, I just said, your dad left. And I just told her the truth. I told her the note. This is all the information I have right now. This is it. I have nothing. I don't know. So she cried. She cried a little bit, of course. And then we went back to my mom's house. And then Barbara's boyfriend came up. And then my brother called me. He either called me or texted me, and he said, did you see the email that Steve sent? And I was like, no. So I go check my email, and he sent it to my business email, not my personal email. It was my business email. And it was to me and to Neil, my brother. And he said he had left because the vehicle he was using was in his name, but it was used for business. So anyway, he said that he left it, that something, I don't remember exact words, but anyway, the van was left at Dion's. Okay. So Barb and I went, yeah, because I don't think Ethan had gotten there yet. Sorry if it's kind of mumbo jumbo, you know, memory. It's just, it was mumble jumble at that time. Like, it was like the weirdest time that one of the weirdest things I've ever dealt with. Like, I didn't know that men walked out on their families like that. So anyway, so he told me that. So then we went, Barb and I, to get the van because it can't just stay at the Dion's parking lot. And Dion's is a pizza place that was down the road from where we lived. So went over there. Yeah, there's the van. Barbara drove the van to our house, leave it there, kind of like look around in the van, like are there any kind of like signs, anything showing, sorry guys, my nose is itchy, allergies, you know, is there any kind of evidence on anything that's happened? There's nothing, everything looks normal. I was just like, okay, you know, I had a spare key to the van, so that wasn't a problem. So we did that, and then we went back to the house. Cheyenne didn't go with us. She stayed at my mom's. And so then we went back to my parents' house, and we were just there, just like, I don't know what to do. I texted with a bunch of his family. I texted whoever I could think of. I texted or called whoever I could think of to see if anybody had heard from him. I mean, like, people that, like, couple of his friends, I didn't know their phone numbers, but like one of them, I was Facebook friends with his wife, so I messaged her on Facebook. There was, you know, other ones I had their numbers, so I texted them. Steve has left. I was like, where are you? Like, you have a wife and children. We have a mortgage. We have a life. Like, what is going on? You know, if you have having problems or issues, like, you talk to your spouse. You don't just walk away. Like, it just didn't make any sense. I've had moments in my life where I've felt at a breaking point. You know what I did? I went to my spouse and I talked to him and I said, look, I'm broken. There's something wrong. And you know what else I did? I went to therapy. I got the help I needed. I did what needed to be done to make myself healthy for my kids and for my husband and for myself, for my family, my parents, you know, my life. That's what I did. I did what needed to be done to get myself help. I didn't just to get myself healthy. I didn't just walk away. So still don't know anything. I talked to one of my friends she said that I should put in a missing persons report, which I thought you had, because you always see in the movies like you have to wait like 72 hours or something like that because they're an adult. Turns out, at least here in New Mexico, you do not have to wait. You can put one in immediately, even if they're gone for like an hour. You can put in a missing person report. Good to know. Didn't know that. And Barbara, she knew for sure that he was, there was something wrong. So I called the police. They said they would send an officer over. Of course, that's not an emergency, so they can't really tell you when. And then we started thinking, you hear a lot of times with people where they have like these mental breakdowns and they leave, but then they come back later and like harm the family or, do something weird. So then I'm like, well, it's just me and Cheyenne at home. Like, what do I do? So that's when it was like decided that, well, maybe we should change the locks. So went ahead and changed the locks. We had the garage door and the front door, and then the back door, we didn't change it. It's the sliding glass, but we got a bolt to put down, like a thing that latches down to lock it so you can't open it. So good thing for Ethan, Barbara's boyfriend, he changed the locks. He installed that. And so this way at least I didn't have to worry about, I didn't know. That was the worst thing, is I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know if he was at a friend's house, if he was at a hotel. I checked like our records. There was no money taken out of our accounts. There was nothing. Like, I didn't know. Are you like at a bar getting drunk? Are you at a hotel staying someplace? Are you at a friend's house or at a sibling's house? Like, you only had one sibling that lives even in the same town as us. So I mean, like, I didn't know. He left his vehicle. Like, where are you? Like, what's happening? So, are you having a mental breakdown, or are you just, I don't know, did not know at the time. So I was just doing what I thought needed to be done to keep myself and my children safe. That was my main thing. Then when we're there and we're getting the locks changed, Cheyenne stayed with my mom at that time. This was all in the same day. This all happened in one day, this part that I'm telling you. Sun is still up at this time. So me, Barbara, and Ethan are at the house changing the locks. Well, Barb and I aren't changing the locks, but Ethan is. We're just there for moral support. And somebody goes and rings our doorbell. So it's kind of like weird, middle of the day. Go and open it, and it's this random guy. And he said that he had picked up somebody at our house, and they left their keys in the car. It was an Uber driver. He was an Uber driver, turns out. And we're like, oh, who was it? He's like, just he picked up a man from this house, and he left the keys in. So he said he doesn't normally do this, but he just thought, like, maybe I should take these keys and see, if he didn't know what to do, so he just took them back over there. So yeah, he said, we just asked him a few questions because we don't know what's happening. So yeah, it was just like, we asked him, well, what happened? What was he like? Well, he said he seemed kind of weird. He had him drive him over to our mailbox, because we had those group community mailbox. It was just like a few houses away. So anyway, he drove him over there, and then he had to go back to the house. So he took him back to the house, and then he took him to the bus station. Okay, so got those keys. So that was weird. And so, thank you, Uber driver. Took him to a bus station. The bus station. I think we only have one here. So that was a strange thing. And we're like, okay, that was weird. Finish up what we're doing. Go back to my parents' house. And then that was pretty much it for that day. I think, yeah. I'm pretty sure that was it for that day. Never did find anything out. Texted back and forth with some people, talked to his niece. You know, nobody had heard from him. Nobody had heard from him. Nobody knew anything. Just gone. Missing. Nothing. So Barb and Ethan went home. Cheyenne and I went home. We just hung out. I tried to make everything as normal as possible for her, you know, just what do you do? I hadn't heard from the police, so I called them. They said that they would be sending somebody out as soon as possible, and they said if it's getting too late, because it was already like 8-9 o'clock when I called again, and they said if it's too late we could send somebody out in the morning. I said yeah, let's do that, because I didn't want to be sitting up waiting, you know. It's Friday night, who knows how busy they are. So I said yeah, let's go ahead and just let them come out tomorrow. I don't know, you know. So yeah, Cheyenne and I just hung out, went to bed. Next day got up, got ready. There was an officer that showed up. I filed missing person, told him everything. That's it as far as that. Set that up. And then it was, I want to say about noon-ish, 12, 1, 2 o'clock. Yeah, I got a text, and it was from him. He just said, I reached my breaking point. I'm at Jack's. Jack lives in Arizona. We live in New Mexico. So he fled to a whole different state. And I say flee because that's... What else do you say? Like, I don't know. I reached my breaking point. Okay, I still, to this day, don't get it. I don't understand. I don't get it. I've come to accept that I never will. I know I won't. I wish I could. But I don't. Like I said, when I reached my breaking point, I got help. I didn't flee. I didn't abandon my family. And I know I have talked to him. I've used the word abandon. It upsets him. But what else do you call it? Like, you literally walked out on us. You abandoned us. And yes, you helped us financially. You still abandoned us. Helping out financially doesn't mean you didn't abandon your family. You abandoned us. And also helping out financially in the sense that you're making now less than half of what you made before. Yeah, that kind of says something. So, anyway, things got weird. Weird. They were already weird. But, so it's just weird. Like, I still do think he kind of had like a mental breakdown, but just never got it diagnosed. I don't know. Like I said, I'll never have the answers. I've come to accept that. I'll never understand it. I've come to accept that. So anyway, he sent that. After that, the next couple of days, he would send like weird random texts to like Barbara and Cheyenne. He did send an apology to all three of us, but like for me, it was like, I know what I did and I'm sorry. I understand what I did and I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? You don't understand what you did. Because if you understood what you did, you wouldn't be able to say that. You wouldn't be able to say, I understand what I did. No, you don't. No, you don't, because you have no idea what we went through here. You don't know. So, no, don't tell me I understand what I did. No, you don't. No, you don't understand how you left me here by myself after we took vows for life. To me, when I said my vows, I meant them. And I know we weren't in the best place. We weren't actually connected as a married couple. I know that. I know we were having some, difficulties in our marriage, but not really. We weren't connected, and I know that. But to me, that wasn't a reason. That to me, that doesn't say you just walk away, you know. At least if you would have come to me and talked to me and been like, I want a divorce, okay, you know. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, he would send him weird texts. I think he said to me, he sent me a text saying, oh, whenever you're ready to talk. Because then, oh yeah, that's the other thing. Then on Saturday also. So he sent that text, and then like later on that day, I didn't answer him. What am I going to say? Okay, so you're in Arizona. Weird. So I went to go check the mail, and he had left his cell phone in the mailbox. Who does that? Okay, so there's another weird thing. He just put his cell phone in the mailbox. So I had that. Okay. So then, I don't think really anything happened the next couple of days. Just he sent weird texts and, you know, like an apology and, you know, he just being strange. And Cheyenne didn't really, she responded a little bit. She's like, what is going on with you? And, you know, and he's just like, I'm not worth anything, and just weird stuff. So I don't really remember in detail. We saved them for a while, and then after a while, I mean, we don't need them. Why do we want to have that? We saved them at the time. A lot of it was because I thought if he wanted to try and get custody of Cheyenne, I wanted to show that I am the better parent. I don't just walk away from my kids. So a lot of it was that. But anyway, so then I decided to get an attorney because, like, are we going to get a divorce? Probably. Like, you just walked out on us. You haven't said you want to work things out. There's been nothing. So I think that following Tuesday, I met with a divorce attorney, talked to her. Did that. She said that I needed to talk to him, which I didn't want to do, but I mean, obviously I have to. So I think either it was that day or the next day, so that following Tuesday or Wednesday, I called him, and I mean, it was kind of a useless call, you know. He's just like, I hit my breaking point. I'm just like, I didn't even like, I was still like in shock, I think. I didn't even like, I don't think I asked him any. I think I did like kind of lash out at him, and I was like, I don't even understand, like, who does this? Like, I know I did say some very, not mean things, just truthful things, and what I was feeling, you know, but, and you know, I think that's when I used the word abandon. He says, I didn't abandon you. Okay. I still say you abandoned us, but, so then I told him, well, I guess I should get an attorney. I didn't tell him I already had one. I said, I guess I should get an attorney, so we can get a divorce. And he's like, well, I don't think you need an attorney. We can just do it ourselves. I said, I don't really think I feel comfortable with that, with the way you've done things. I don't feel safe or trusting of you. So I need to get an attorney so that I can make sure that myself and my daughters are okay. So, you know, I already had an attorney. He didn't know that, but at least I'd already spoken with one. I didn't have the retainer or anything, but I'd already spoken with one and liked her. So either way, I wasn't gonna not go with an attorney only because of the way he did things. Like, had he come to me and said, I want a divorce, I'm not in love with you anymore, yeah, would that hurt? Of course. Of course. Because to me, like I was saying earlier, like, when I said my vows, I meant them, and I meant them for life. I would not have gone this route. I would not have gotten a divorce. Sometimes I feel like that's why it happened like this. I feel like God knew that I wouldn't do that. And so he knew that he wasn't good for us anymore. And so I think he just figured it was best this way to get him out of our lives. Because he's an alcoholic. Throughout our relationship, you know, ups and downs. It was like, there were times it was fine, then times it was heavy drinking, times, you know, for the most part, most of it was good up until the last couple of years. And that's when things, you know, kind of trickled down. But I still wouldn't have gone the route of divorce. I had asked him numerous times to go to therapy, to go to counseling. We went to a marriage counselor once. That was it. Never went again. And that's not because I didn't want to. I did try. I talked to him several times about going to therapy, going to counseling, but you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And yeah, so anyway, and a lot of it was probably too, we weren't like really going to church, you know, so maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. Like I said, I'll never know. So anyway, we haven't even gotten to the divorce part. We're not even divorced yet. So yeah, so had to go through all the assets, all the things that are owed. And the thing is, you know, we still have a mortgage to pay. He was the breadwinner. You know, yes, we own this business together, but because it's a union business and he's union, he got paid a lot more than I did and do. So anyway, the way that works. And so anyway, he went through all the assets, which we didn't really have assets, everything that was owed, all, you know, just all the stuff that you have in a marriage, in a family. Had to do all that, split it up. Then come, I think it was January is when, end of December, January is when he got the first thing showing, you know, what the divorce offer is, which I wasn't looking to anything. I just want my daughter and, you know, to get these bills paid off, because you know, he's now gone out there and he was cleaning carpets with his friend Jack, and which is fine. I'm not saying anything against cleaning carpets, but you know, you're not making as much as you were here. So you really like we went from like this level of income to like this level of income. That's a big difference. That's a huge difference. Plus he's living out there and I'm living over here, and you know, it's just made no sense. So he got the first draft. Well, he wanted to add on a couple of 2-3 credit cards he had onto that as well. So okay, he wanted the child support. That was the big doozy. He the amount that we were asking for was going off the income that he had when he was working with us, you know, which was a much higher income. So he kind of threw a little bit of a fit over that. So we kind of had to go back and forth with that. We did talk on the phone. He did try to get me down, like way down from, I was like, no. So we did settle. I am getting less than I feel like I should be getting. I'm not the one that decided to go cut my income down less than half. I don't see why my child and myself should have to pay the price, especially my daughter. I don't see why she should have to have a lower standard of living. But anyway, I went ahead and agreed. You know, I could have fought it, but it just wasn't worth it. So he's paying less than I feel like he should be, but whatever. And so anyway, went back and forth, haggled a few things out, finally got that accepted. Then we had to like do the notary, and yeah, and then it actually was pretty smooth for being as dramatic of an ending that it was. The actual divorce itself was pretty smooth, you know. We went back, haggled a few things out back and forth. We've talked like maybe a handful of times. So then we got divorced. I think our divorce was final like March 10th of 2020, I believe is what the divorce. So I mean, October, November, December, January, February, March. So 5 months later, from the day he left to the day we were divorced. That's pretty quick. I've seen some people's divorces last a lot longer. So, I mean, we got that done. Never, I mean, I've always just assumed that's what he wanted. I never asked him if he wanted a divorce. To me, the way you just left tells me you want a divorce. Sometimes I think like maybe I should have asked, maybe I should have done this, but then I'm like, I went by what I was feeling at the time, and I don't regret where I'm at now. I think it's for the better. So we got divorced, but we still had the house. So we'd been boxing things up because we had to sell the house. There was just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We had to sell the house. There was no way we could keep it. I mean, he was like, "Oh, well, you'll just stay in the house." I'm like, I don't see how we can keep this house with this mortgage, and you over there, and us not being. I don't see how we can do it. And with all the things that we still had, that we have to be paid, like there was not a way. There was not a way. So we chatted and we boxed everything up. I got a storage. So we got all of our stuff out. Barbara still had her stuff in her room. She had this was like throwing at us. So she was like, stayed at her boyfriend's a lot, but she wasn't like technically living there. So she had to like, what am I going to do? All of us were, me, Barbara, Cheyenne. It's like, what are we doing now? We don't have a house, So anyway, we put it on the market. I believe it went on the market, I want to say April 1st. I think so. I think it was like April 1st of 2020. Not just crazy because we're in the middle of a darn pandemic, COVID, and everything's shut down, but I was still able to get it on the market. It was like somewhere in April. It sold really quickly, which I knew it would because he was like concerned that it wouldn't. But houses in the area that we lived in, you'd see them go up and they were sold, go up and they were sold. So I wasn't really concerned about it. Our house did need some work. It did need some carpet. It did have a few things that needed to be done, so we did have to kind of lower the price, which was fine. It is what it is. So yeah, we put that up, got our stuff out, had to move in with my parents. Not exactly your dream at 48, but that's okay. I'm glad that I have them, and I have their support, and they allowed us to move in with them, and so yeah, moved in with them, got a storage. Then he came down and got all his stuff, and then I think the following week or so, we got the rest of Barbara's stuff out, and then it sold. So it was like, I think it was like the beginning of April it went on sale, and by the end of May it was done. It was like fast, super fast. And so we got that all signed, all sold, and yeah, still digging out, still working on paying some stuff off, but seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Just grateful for my family and all the support. Grateful for my friends that have supported me. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the experience of what I've been through, and I don't wish it on anybody, but I do think that going through all of this did help me in becoming more faithful and becoming more spiritual and finding myself. It did make me find myself, and I know that in this I have grown a lot. I've changed a lot in the way I view life and myself, and I become a much better person because of this. So I don't wish it on anybody. I would not have gone this route if it was my choice, but I do accept it, and I accept that I will never understand it from another person's side, but I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful of where I am now, and I'm happy, and yeah, I hope that you guys like this story. I hope it wasn't too long and too boring, and I hope that you are all having an amazingly blessed day and an amazingly blessed week. I hope you will consider subscribing. Let me know if there's any other stories you want, or anything you guys want me to do, any other kinds of videos. Definitely consider subscribing, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.